Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to the final video of Vlogmas 2022. We did it! That flew by. It really did. I had fun, so much fun, filming Vlogmas videos this year. This is my first year. I think first year, maybe I did it at the very beginning. But I have not done an every day in December Vlogmas in quite a while, if at all. So yeah, this is really fun. Probably return to do it next year. This is, I didn't think that I'd have enough topics to talk about, and I totally did. This will likely carry over a little bit into January because I think I'm gonna go back to posting about 3 videos a week for January because I have so much to talk about. Maybe not, but I'll kind of just like slide my amount of videos around a little bit depending on how much I have to talk about. Today, I wanna talk about my big overarching goal for 2023. I will be posting my like goals wrap up and like half year, mid-year goals, you know, like I do every year, where I kind of say these are the books that I definitely for sure want to get read before the middle of the year. But that might look slightly different because of this. Still kind of trying to work it out. But this all kind of came around. I was reminded of this as a potential goal because there was a video on TikTok back in like October where a bookseller was basically telling people to not do read your shelf October, forget what it was, but it was basically someone kind of doing like, not even an attempt to get their TBR to 0, but just reading their shelf for that month, and this bookseller got up in arms. And there's something about me and that I'm petty. And this just kind of reminded me of a lot of those videos people were doing years ago. I feel like it was a big in like 2015, 2016, 2017, of TBR 0. You see where this is going. And I was like, you know what? Let's fucking do it, man. So I'm finally gonna like really attempt this. I mean, I did this a few years ago in a similar way where I was like, I kind of want to get my TBR to 0, I want to get my TBR to like 10, whatever. And I did that. What I'm basically trying to do is less get my TBR to total 0 and just within 2023 read all the books that are currently on my shelf. So if at the end of the year I still have books on my shelf, because I will, because I'll probably get books for my birthday, things like that. I'm not necessarily going on a no-buy, although I don't buy books very often anyway. I'll talk about that. But I'm gonna talk about like how many books I have currently, sort of what the plan is, sort of my buying plans, reading plans, things like that. So I have a couple different things that sort of affect this breakdown. But right now I have 56, sort of. My base is that there's 56 books on my TBR, because I typically do not count a couple books. So that's not counting Patrick Rothfuss, because I said I wouldn't finish The Name of the Wind, Kingkiller Chronicles. I wouldn't catch up until he announces the final book. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stick to that, or if for the sake of this challenge, I'll just catch up with that series, because I do own The Slow and Silent Regard, which is the novella, and Wise Man's Fear. So like, I could do that, but I'm not necessarily sticking myself to that. But if I did that, it would be 2 more books and 1 reread, because I would have to reread The Name of the Wind because it's been so long. This also isn't counting all those books on my last chance TBR thing I'm doing, so there are 12 of those. I have a video about that, I'll link down the screen if you're like, what are you talking about? But basically these are books that I'm going to like read or DNF because they're kind of books that I'm not so sure about. So I don't necessarily think I'm even gonna read all of those. And I'm not counting any of my graphic novels. Even though there's some graphic novels that I do want to catch up with this year, I'm not counting any of those because I don't know. I just like, I don't keep them on my TBR shelf. I don't know if you guys keep your graphic novels separate. I keep them on this shelf at the bottom. There's one side for all of my unread graphic novels and one side for all of my read. They are just this like nebulous thing because they don't take as much time as like novels and stuff. I don't know. I just keep them separate for some reason. Can't tell you why. So that's sort of like the baseline, right? Is this like 56 plus or minus 2 books and a reread, okay? But of those 56, not even the Rothfuss one, I would need to reread/read 10 additional books that aren't in the TBR shelf because they're either read or I don't even like own them yet because they're part of a series to like totally finish. Because like there's one series that I own, I mean, I'll just tell you. So I have books 4 and 5 of the Expanse series, but I've decided that I want to reread the Expanse series. So I need to reread 1, 2, and 3. I remember a lot of 1, but I think I'm still gonna reread it. This is a series that I want to potentially like catch up on. I'll talk about that in 2023, but I need to reread these. So that's 3 chunky books to read to then get to those 2 that I do own. Then I have the second book in the Terra Ignata series, so I would need to reread To Like the Lightning to get to that one. I haven't read this one in a while and it's very weird and I need to like sink back into that, so that's another reread I need to do. Then I think I'm gonna finally read The Republic of Thieves this year because I kind of want to catch up on the series as well. Even though The Thorn of Emberland is not quite announced yet, but maybe we'll get it this year, I don't know. I don't even want it, it's fine. I would have to probably reread Lies of Locke Lamora. I don't know if I want to, but maybe. reread these two to like, again, fully immerse myself. This one's a little more up in the air because I feel like I remember these a little bit more than other series. So I don't know, but we'll see how I feel. I would probably like start that one, see if there's enough of a recap that I don't need to reread, or go back and reread them. I also have book 3 of the 12 Kings and Shirakai, and I do feel like I need to reread books 1 and 2 of the 12 Kings series. I kind of hate this because I like this size better, but I have these books in books 2 and 3 in this size. It's one of my only series that like doesn't look right. I talked about this with books that I didn't get a chance to finish before the end of the year, but I want to read Bonecryer's Dawn, but I need to reread Bonecryer's Moon. This will be pretty easy, it's a YA series, but it's another book that I would need to reread. And finally, the second book in the Queens of Renthea series. I own the first and the third, but I don't own the second one. So to read both of those, I would need to get the second one to wrap all of that up. So yeah, some additional books in there. So let's say, for argument's sake, we have the 56 books, plus the 10 additional books that I just talked about for like reread, filling in, whatever. Plus the 2 Rothfuss and the 1 reread. And then let's say, for this last chance TBR thing, I read like, let's say 6 of them, and I DNF the rest. I don't know, that's half. Let's say that I read 6. It gets me to 75 books in my TBR. Okay, I read 100 books this year, like a little over 100. We'll see what I end up fully landing on. So that means like 3/4 of the books that I will read next year, if I do this, are all gonna be books on my shelf, which is like pretty fine. I will talk about like my stats of how many books that I read this year that were mostly on my shelf, and I think it's pretty high, so I'm probably okay with this. I don't know. If I wanna read all of these books by the end of the year, that's 6 or 7 books a month for the whole year, which is like totally possible. It leaves some room for like some other books. If I want to get all of these done by my birthday, which is sometimes what I say, because then I'm going to get a bunch of books for my birthday, typically speaking, that's what I tend to get the most on my birthday. It's 9 or 10, which is like all of the books that I read in a month, usually. So I'm thinking I'll give myself the full year. I mean, birthday's sort of like a stretch goal. I want to get my current TBR to 0. So all these books that are on my TBR right now, I want to have read or DNF'd or whatever, at least attempted to read before the end of this year. This does not mean I'm on a book buying ban. If I want to buy a book, I'm going to, but although, like I said, I typically don't buy books. I get sent some books here and there from publishers, not very often, like maybe not even 1 a month, 1 or 2 every few months, maybe, because they know now not to send me anything like unsolicited or whatever, so something I have to be really interested in. So that, new releases are gonna come out for series that I want to finish. I will buy those, like Electo the Ninth and things like that. And the possibility of any book club books that we read that I was already interested in, typically speaking, I get book club books from the library, and this year's gonna be kind of chaotic anyway. I think by the time this goes up, yes, we'll have done our live show, so you can check out all of our wrap up of this year. We talk about Blood March for half of it, but I will link in there so you can skip. We wrap up our year and sort of our plans for next year, and it's slightly more chaotic with how we're choosing books. So that could be a thing where I get books here and there, but I will mostly try to get things, I think, from the library anyway, which is what I tend to do. So yeah, I'm not like necessarily limiting my buying, but I'm also probably thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna buy anything just randomly anyway, even if I would. Like if I go to a bookstore, it's not like, oh, just buy something. It's like, no, we're trying to get everything off the TBR. So that is my plan. All of these books currently on my TBR read by 2024. So it's kind of a 0 by 2024, kind of not, whatever. So that's my big overarching goal. Like I said, I will be talking about, you know, series I want to continue, series I want to start, things like that. Most of those being already on my TBR, so you'll get some of those videos in the new year. And just, again, my overarching goals of like things I, like sort of top of the TBR type things for the things I want to read in the first half of those things that are on my TBR, things like that. But this is my overarching 2024 goal, along with finishing up series, basically, which I already kind of talked about. Wish me luck. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think I can do it? Do you think that I'm unstable? I don't know. I gotta be in my bonnet about it, you know? And also, if I get some things off of my backlist that will allow me in the future kind of rolling out to pay a little bit closer attention to some new releases. Not a huge priority for me, but it's something that I can do. So I kind of like to clear things out anyway, as I feel like things have sort of lingered on my shelf. I think in 2020 is when I last got my TBR really down, so these have been things that have mostly been accumulating within the last year, like a lot of these books I got within the last year or two, so it's not like they've been languishing on my shelf forever. And I know there's plenty of people who have larger TBRs than mine. I used to have a huge TBR if you've been following me for a while, so I've been culling it down over the years. This is where it's at, and we'll see how this little project goes. I will do a mid-year check-in for it like I do for all of my goals, so yeah. Comment below, let me know if you're doing anything similar, what your plans are for the new year. And again, I will see you in January with all of my 2022 wrap-up videos, all of my future goals, all of my series I want to, you know, continue with, all that stuff is coming in the new year. So thank you guys for joining me and supporting me for Vlogmas, and I will see you soon. Bye.